welcome. It's another one, Rachel the Wretched One podcast, that is. I'm Rachel, and for the next 20 to 30 minutes, I'm going to talk pure random rubbish as usual. But for those of you that have kept listening and kept plugging away, more power to you, and I do appreciate your support. So yeah, the weather's really nice today. It looks like we're finally getting close to spring, summer. And it's nice because, you know, after work you see everybody dropping into the pub. Everybody seems to be happier. They've got smiles on their faces. As the weather turns nicer in England, you know, you see the cars starting to open their windows, playing their music, etc. And people just have a nice feeling about themselves. And my dad has always said, nothing beats England on a hot day. And it's true, because when we've got miserable weather around us, we're not the best people. But when the weather's nice, you know, we are the best people around. But also, the English countryside and England in general is a nice place to be. You see all the greenery, or in the major cities, there's always something going on. But it's just nice. When the sun's out and the weather's warm, everybody's nice to each other. But I tell you what, even though we've having nice weather and, you know, we're getting close to summer and it's a nice feeling, I want everything to slow down. I mean, I'm looking now and I'm thinking, we're at the end of May already. You know, I just had my holiday. I'm now looking to have my other holiday towards the end of August, and I don't want it to come too soon. Even though I'm excited about it, I'm thinking, when that holiday comes, that's it. We're going to be going into September, and then before you know it, it's Christmas. And it's weird, as a kid, time just seemed to go so slowly. Do you remember when you were a kid and like Christmas was like, it could be just 10 years away to you, and your birthday, forget that, it could be another eon. You know, your birthday could be in 2 weeks, but it felt like years. And now I'm blinking and I'm careering through the weeks like it's no tomorrow. So it must be a thing, you know, when you get older, it's just like time just drags. I think the only time dragged when I was a kid is when you were in trouble. You know those ones when you did something to your mum when you were young, like in the morning, on the way to school, you know, she's stressed, she's frustrated, and then you do something stupid and, you know, get on her nerves, and she's like, you wait till you get home. You just wait till you get home, because she can't deal with you there and then because you got to go and catch the bus, or she's running late for work and she hasn't got the time to be dealing with your foolishness, but you wait till the evening come. So all day at school, you're just hoping that the day drags. But everything just seems to go a lot quicker than it usually did. And then before you know it, you're at home. I mean, the good thing for us when we were kids, actually, is Mum was always the forgetful one. It seemed like in the heat of the moment, when she was angry, she would be like, you know, you wait till you get home, or I'll deal with you when I get home. But we learned as time went on that when she got, you know, when it came to home time, by the time it was like 6, 7 o'clock, that was out of her mind. It was just at the time, she was angry, she was frustrated, she expressed it, and then it was done. Dad, on the other hand, was different. Dad is methodical. So if Dad said in the morning that you wait till you get home, you knew that something was going to happen when you got home. So you didn't want to mess with him then. So it's funny because time really did go quickly when Dad used to say, wait till you get home. I try not to do it with my kid now. I try to deal with it in the morning because I don't want him having that stress all through the day that I used to get, which I know many of us had, and it put us in good standing, to be honest, because we learned not to do things again. But I try not to put that pressure on my son. But in terms of times going fast for him, yes, he always says to me, you know, when is so-and-so? God, that's ages away. And I'll say to him, you know, we're going to this place and it's going to be in July. Oh my God, that's ages away. And I'm thinking, oh my God, it's only 8 weeks. So, you know, the perspective changes when you're a kid to when you're an adult. Speaking of my son, me and my husband have looked and we've decided that he's 11 years old now. And it is time for him really to do more things that are going to make him independent and make him able to cope in this big wide world. You know, when we were younger, we did a lot of things quicker. So, you know, I was out playing at a young age with all my friends. We were getting up to all kinds of things, you know, going to other areas in London, visiting our friends, riding our bikes, and we learned how to cope with the dangers that were out there. Everything from, you know, stranger danger to knowing how to cross the road properly. We learned about all those things through trial and error. So, I remember at school there was always a kid with like, a broken leg or a broken arm from being run over. Or, you knew whose house not to knock on or which adult to stay away from because, they were just deemed unsafe for children. So I've realised, and me and my husband have realised that, we're in a way sheltering our children. So the generation, or the last generation that grew up being free, which I would say is my generation, that grew up playing out and, being very independent, have become the parents that are locking our children inside. And I am so guilty of that. I have an 11-year-old and he hasn't gone to the shops by himself, really. He hasn't gone out to play further than the window that I can see him. I haven't left him alone for, more than 10, 15 minutes. I have tried to go to the shops and leave him at home, but I've phoned like every 5 minutes to check that he's all right. So I know that I have to empower him and give him that opportunity to go out there and be independent and learn. So it's going to come anyway, because my parents next year will go on holiday for, a few weeks, and they normally look after my son when he comes home from school. So they're not going to be there. So we're going to have to find alternative arrangements. So what we're going to have to try and do is start training my son to cycle home from school by himself. To cycle home, and then my brother may be there to meet him when he gets home. But my brother's not going to be able to go and pick him up from school. And I'm getting real anxiety about it. I'm thinking, is he going to make it? I mean, we don't even live in bustling London where, you're going to be afraid your kid's going to get knocked over by a blooming bendy bus. There's not much that's going to happen to him. There's, cycle paths all over the place. About 80% of the kids cycle to and from schools. You can't move for bikes at certain times of the day where I am. So really, he should be safe. I'm not even worried about things like bullies or stuff like that. It's more just like road safety and, and him not getting knocked off of his bike. So I've got to really, really try and let go on this occasion. And I always see myself as quite independent, and I've always prided myself as being this parent that's like, yeah, I let him do what he wants. He's a free spirit. He can handle himself. So why am I so scared about letting him cycle, for 15 to 20 minutes home from school with heck of a lot of other kids to get home? I remember an incident when I was at home, when I was a kid with my brother. This was in the 80s. So me and my brother, on a Saturday, we got to an age where my parents thought it's okay to leave us at home. I must have been about 12, 13, maybe 12 years old. And my brother was then about 8, 10 years old. So they would go to Sainsbury's like on a Saturday, do the shopping, and then leave us at home for no more than an hour, and then come back, and then, everything would be fine. We knew, don't answer the door to nobody, don't answer the phone, basically keep yourself quiet and, mind your own business, basically, at home. Don't get into stupid fights where you're breaking up the place, all of that stuff. Anyway, one time, me and my brother were there, and I decided to go and fast myself and get a pack of gungu peas. Like, if you don't know what gungu peas are, they're just like dried peas that you get in a packet, that you probably soak overnight, and then you cook them with your rice and peas. So this is like a West Indian thing. So I'm there with this big packet of dried gungu peas, and I'm throwing it up in the air in the kitchen. See, mum and dad aren't here now, so I'm feeling myself. Mum and dad are in Sainsbury's. So I'm throwing it up in the air, and it hit the strip light in the kitchen. And when I tell you it hit that light and the thing came down, the strip light came down, my brother was like, oh, you're going to get in trouble. That's it. And I knew that was the end of my life. I knew that was the end. I was panicking. Good for my brother though, he helped me. He was trying to help me because, boy, I was scared. I was trying to do everything. I was trying to get the broom to try and balance this whole strip light, to try and put it back on the ceiling before mum and dad came in. I was sweating, I was crying, I was panicking, going through all the emotions because I knew I was going to get in so much trouble because, as mum and dad said, when we're out, don't answer the door to no one, don't mess with anything, just keep yourself quiet, And it wasn't like nowadays where the most you're going to get is a telling off and grounding. Things were going to be serious. So there I was sweating, trying to get this thing up. In the end, I think I managed to climb up. Did I do it? I think I did. I climbed up on the side of the kitchen cabinet and balanced myself, my little self, and managed to get the strip light up and fit it up. Jeez, I was praying. I tell you, I survived it though. if my parents are hearing this, they're probably thinking, we didn't know nothing about no strip light and no gungle peas getting thrown up in the air. So, boy, sorry about that, mum and dad. But I'm just trying to demonstrate how, you learn, you live and you learn if you're left to your own devices. Something I need to let my son do. That's just reminded me of another incident. I think my parents know about this one, actually. So, it's not really parental confession time. But when I was younger, I was in the garden, me and my brother, once again. And we were there playing with the football. And I remember the football, it was muddy. And I hope I've told him about this. It was like a muddy football, and we're out in the, in the back garden. And the kitchen window, was facing where we were. So we're there playing with the ball and everything. And I'm kicking this football. And then I kicked the football, and it went through the kitchen window and landed in the pot of boiling water on the stove. Now, it was a Saturday, so either mum was doing soup, or it was cooking pasta, or it was cooking or boiling like the dish towels. Like mum she used to boil the dish towels, to sanitize them, as a way of almost doing like a hot wash. My grandmother used to do that as well. So either way, that ball went into that pot. I think it was pasta, actually. And I remember being so scared and running back in the kitchen, getting the ball and running back out again. And I never said anything because I thought, do you know what? If I say anything, I'm going to get in so much trouble. 1, I was kicking the ball near the window. 2, it went through the window. It could have broken something. And 3, it went into the pot that probably had food in it that would be a waste of food because my parents would have chucked the whole thing out. So I think I just ran in the garden and started playing. I don't even know if I had dinner that day. And I can't remember if my parents actually cooked the pasta. But boy, I'm doing my confessions now. Please don't listen to this, mum and dad. And if you do, I'm sorry. But yeah, it just reminded me of an incident there. It's so funny when you start talking with your little stream of consciousness, how things pop into your head and you think, oh my God, it's like confessing your sins. I don't pay much attention to the news. I don't really sit there and take it all in because I just think it's a bit negative, to be honest, and a lot of it isn't relevant. And I think I said this in my previous podcast, it's not good to let yourself get triggered or caught up in, stories and images that are there technically to manipulate your feelings. It's almost like synthetically giving you emotion, so I try not to get too involved. But one of the things that did make my ears prick up, or has in recent months, it's the whole discussion around, genetically modified foods. Now, in the past, I was like, well, it must be a good thing, at the end of the day, if we're able to produce food in more abundance, cheaply, for everybody, then really we'll be helping to combat those that are hungry. And it can only be good to do that. But I realise now with my, big grown-up girl pants on that it's all about money. It's all about making sure that companies make great profits because they're not selling them any cheaper. And what made me really start thinking about this is I've been buying fruit and veg lately and it's not going off. Like, I bought some pears and some plantain. Yes, I say plantain, not plantain. As I said, I have Jamaican parents. It's how I've been brought up. So forgive me, everybody else, but yeah, it's plantain. So I bought some plantain and pears and they were both green at the time. And I did that because I thought, good, I can take them home and ripen them up. Put them in the fruit bowl with some bananas, which is what we all know to do. If you put your fruits in with some bananas, they're likely to speed up the ripening process. Easy, quick work. 2 weeks down the line, and these fruits are still unripe. I'm like, what's going on? They should be well ripe by now, considering as well some of the days that we've had that are quite warm of late, and my kitchen gets really hot to the point that if it is a hot day, we make sure we put everything in the fridge, the bread, any kind of perishables like that, because they just go off really quickly. So it got to Friday and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to have to cut open this plantain to cook it. One of them was so hard that it almost was like, it had turned to like brown stone in part of it and the rest of it was still green. Even though it had been sitting there for 2 weeks, the other one had gone a slight yellow colour, like almost slightly when a banana starts to ripen, and it was still hard. and I had to cook that one. The pears I had to chuck because they literally were not ripening. So you can't get fruits now that will naturally ripen. It's like when they spray it with whatever they spray it with, they've overdone it. So before, maybe they realise that the ripening process needs to be within a few days. But now, because less people maybe are going to supermarkets and buying lots and lots of food, they're trying to save money. So they're like, look, if we can make sure that these fruits don't ripen too quickly, we can keep them on the shelf for longer and then we can sell it on, for the same money and then not lose any money in the process. But it's not benefiting the consumers like me who are buying it and the thing's not going, it's not ripening. The same as grapes. When was the last time you saw grapes with seeds in them? These are the things that I think about. These are the random thoughts that go through my head on a day-to-day basis. When have you last seen grapes with seeds in them? Because if there are no grapes with seeds in them, how are they making grapes? How are they actually growing new grapes? These must be some X-Men grapes. Because at the end of the day, I thought when I went to school, in order for something to grow that had seeds, you needed more seeds to make them pollinate. You eat the seeds or you eat the fruit, or the birds eat the fruits and then they poo out the seeds and then voila, we get more fruits. But these grapes are not producing any seeds. It's weird. So I have been on a mission to try not to buy those kind of grapes, but I can't actually find grapes with seeds in them, even organic ones. It's a brave new world out there, people. And I'm not really a person that would sit there and be like, oh, they're trying to kill us all. I'm not that kind of person. But it does make you think that you've got to, be careful about the food that you're putting into your body. And if you're not able to find certain foods, why is that? Why is it that you're having to hunt for foods that have the basic things they should have in them, like seeds? So yeah, maybe as a mission, we should all try and see if we can find some grapes with seeds in them this week. I'll tell you one thing that I'm getting increasingly tired about, and that is the exhaustion of trying to be heard. And I don't mean this on a big political scale of, as a woman, I'm not heard. I mean in everyday conversation. It's tiring. I've noticed that when I'm in groups now of, more than 3 to 4 people and everyone's talking, and I'm a talker, as you can see, I love talking, and I've always been that one that was always running my mouth in a conversation. I'm finding it exhausting to get my point across. If I try to say something and 3 or 4 people talk over me, or everyone's talking at the same time, I think I have 1 or 2 goes and then I just shut up because I'm tired. I remember back in the day, I'd be like, and yeah, excuse me, yeah, as I was saying, or wait for everyone to finish and then go back to it and go, yeah, what I was going to say was. Now I just cannot be bothered. So I'll start, I'll be like, yeah, and then everybody's talking, no one's heard what I've said, and I'm just like, don't worry about it. And it happens at home as well. So my son and my husband experience it from me, because I'll be asking them something. I might say something like to my husband, like, oh, did you, how was your day at work? Or did you remember to pick up the prescription from the doctors last week? And he's like, huh? I'm too tired to repeat myself. So I'm just like, oh, don't worry about it. And it's not even because I'm, trying to be, obstinate or just trying to be funny. I'm tired. And it's actually an effort to say it again because it's small talk. And I think in my line of work, I do a lot of talking. So, I work with in recruitment, so it involves a lot of talking on the phone, a lot of being high energy as well, because you're talking to candidates and you're talking to clients and you're talking to colleagues constantly, all day. From the moment you walk in to the moment you finish, you're talking. And obviously I do talking here, but I find this relaxing. So when you get home, you just haven't got that energy anymore. So when I say something, I think I can muster it once. And then I'm like, me can't be bad at it. Me can't say it again. I can't do it again. So everybody's like, oh, no, say it again. Are you all right? Are you upset? And I'm like, no, I just can't be bothered to say it again. So it happens, as I've said, it happens in like group conversations, I've noticed. Everybody's enthusiastic. I just, sat with some friends. We had like a phone call, like a Skype chat, but it was more of a WhatsApp chat. And we were talking away. And 2 of my friends were chatting away and they're really going in. And I was trying to interject. And I just got bored and tired. So I just sat quietly and let them talk. And then when they finished, what I had to say didn't feel as important anymore. And I think that's a good thing to know that, there's that saying that, that sometimes you want to say something and you've forgotten what you were going to say. So you always say, well, it couldn't have been that important to begin with. I'm almost applying that to when I'm trying to interject in a conversation. If people didn't hear me the first time, it couldn't have been that important to begin with. And if I haven't got the energy to repeat it, it's not that important. If it was imperative, yeah, I'll be the one repeating myself. But yeah, I just can't be bothered. I'm changing from this chatterbox, run mouth girl. Like, I remember my mum used to say to me that I talk too much, and my auntie used to say to me, I must nyam foul batty because I talk so much. And I remember one of my teachers said I had verbal diarrhea. To now being the person that says it once and then just like relaxes and just be like, can't say it anymore. So what's happening? So and with that comes to the end of the podcast again. It's funny, these ones which are on a bank holiday, I've noticed, are the really short podcasts. So, I've done a couple of Mondays where they're really rapid or they feel really short to me, and then some of them will drag on. But yeah, the final thought for this one is something I've been thinking about, which is set a task and stick to it. This is something that I try to do. I think it's in my nature being a Virgo, but set your task and try to just stick to the best of it. Start it even, because then you feel like you've done something good. So, I say I exercise in the morning, and some days I cannot be bothered to get up, especially at 5:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning, to get up and start jumping up and down in my living room and sweating. Sometimes I can't be bothered. But the mentality that I have, or the kind of energy that I give it is, okay, at least just turn up, Rachel. Just turn up. Meaning just get up and go downstairs. You're there. And then when it starts, you don't have to give your 100% energy, but you turned up. And you find you're doing it. And before you blink, you've finished it. You've completed your 30-minute workout at 5 o'clock in the morning. So the same thing should apply to any kind of task that you've set yourself to do. So whether it be you're going to do something about the way you eat. So I'm going to cut out my sugar, that kind of thing. Set that task, set that intention, and try to stick to it. If you don't cut it all the way out, maybe you start with baby steps. It's the same if you think, right, I'm going to do some exercise, let me go and start walking. Or I'm going to call one of my friends once a month because I do too much stuff on the internet and I do too much texting and I haven't actually heard my friend's voice for a long time. Set that intention to make that phone call. And that is what I want to leave you with this week. So I hope you enjoy yourselves, and until next time, goodbye.